Okay guys, deer season's here, and I was lucky enough to get a small doe here. Unfortunately not with my flintlock. It was too far away. But anyway, what I wanted to do today is make a short video on utilizing a lot of different parts from a deer. We in the 21st century, as blessed Americans, we tend to be kind of wasteful. Many of us just use the meat and throw everything else away. In the 18th century, they would have used a lot more of the deer, and that's kind of what I would like to make a video of today. Now I'm just going to mention the different parts that we're going to use, and then we'll go through them individually as we go through the process of butchering the deer. Obviously the first would have been the meat. They would have of course ate the meat, and then secondly, of course, the hide. The hide would have been useful for a lot of different things. Back then they could have marketed it, sell it, or they could have utilized it themselves, to make a lot of different things. Leggings, accoutrements for their guns, like bags and pouches and different things like that. And then second of all, here along the back is when I take the back strap out, as I'll show you, on the top side of the meat there's a big band of sinew, and we'll make a video of rendering that down, or processing it down rather. Okay guys, sorry about that. I forgot to turn the mic on my camera for this shot, and but basically what I was saying is that we're also going to utilize some of the fat from the deer and render it down to make lubricant for your flintlock, rust preventative, like for your knives, hatchets, and different things like that. So we're going to show you that process as well. Sorry about the wind noise. It's kind of windy out here today, but I've often wanted to, if I get a bigger deer, and maybe I will with my flintlock later and I can do it, I wanted to use this part here of the knee to make a grease knee or a cow's knee for my flintlock. Basically you would cut right in here, cut up through here, and right in here, and then I was just going to tan it and leave the hair on, and then it would go over your flintlock, something like this. Over your, protect your lock part. This knee would slip over and protect your lock from moisture and stuff when you're out hunting. At least that's the theory. So maybe if I get a bigger one, I can do that later, but this one I think is a little small, so we'll just go with the other topics right now. Okay, so when we're talking about the fat that we want to get off the deer to render down, we're looking for the fat that's a little more firm, I guess you'd say. It's not the blubbery kind of soft kind. A lot of this stuff here around the hams, the back, and the sides is what we're looking for. And we just want to take that and just cut off chunks like this right here. Just take some of this just got that firmness to it. That's what you want. You just flay off some of that and put it in your pot, which we'll show you a bit later, and render it down. Now the sinew that we're going to be working with lays right here along the back. I cut off the back straps, and then it's this, if you can kind of see it through this layer of fat here, kind of a bluish, whitish blue strip there. And for those of you that haven't done it before, I'll kind of show you a little bit. I mean, right here obviously is the backbone. You just want to cut in right beside the backbone and follow that backbone all the way down to the shoulders. And then step over here, kind of find where the the ham meets the where the rib cage and stuff starts, the stomach. You just cut in. And there's that strip of meat that lays along the side of the ribs and the backbone there. And then this right here is your sinew. Right in here. Okay, so once you got the back strap out, which looks like this, the back part here is the sinew that you're wanting. We like to cut up our back strap in chunks like this here. And then just like you're filleting a fish, just flay that off of that sinew. And as you can see there's your sinew. And then when I finish with it, I'll just take it and scrape off all this excess meat that's on there, and you have a clean piece of sinew. So there it is. Once you get it cleaned up, that's kind of how it looks. It cleans pretty easily. The meat and the gristle just comes off of there. You just take your knife and just kind of scrape it off. And then you want to place this next to some dry heat, or just outside where it's nice and dry, and let it dry for a while. I'm going to probably put this in our basement next to the wood stove and let her dry up. Okay guys, the sinew has dried up. It really doesn't take that long, like 2 days or something. And if you look closely here, you can see all the strands in the sinew. Therefore, you can you can pull these apart as thick or as thin as you want, depending on what you're wanting to make. If you're wanting to make thread, you can pull these down into thin little strands, as you see there. Or if you're wanting to make cordage, you could leave them a little bit thicker, obviously. And there's a whole host of stuff you could do with this. I would like to mention too, I didn't take the time to do it. I wish I would have. But there's also sinew in the deer's legs, on the front, running down the back, or the inside of the leg, you might say. There's sinew, and I believe also on the front. Both can be taken out and dried and processed down pretty much just like I did this. You can also take those leg tendons and you can boil them down into glue. I always had the thought that they would make glue from the hooves. That's actually not true. The hoof is just a shell. If you just put it in hot water for a short time, you can pull those hooves right off, and the glue is actually made from the actual foot of the deer, and the tendons and all that stuff could be boiled down and made into glue. So anyway guys, that's pretty much on the sinew. There's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of different things you could use it for. I think I'm gonna try to make maybe some small cordage for hanging stuff off of my shot pouch, or different things like that. And so anyway guys, that's it on the sinew. Maybe next time you kill a deer, give her a try. Okay guys, so we got the fat cut off of the deer here, and it's mostly, it's just fat. We cut off all of the meat chunks that were on it, and we just want pure fat. Got a fire going here and a little can, and I'm just going to be putting these in the can and letting it melt down, melt all the oil off of it, and that's what we're going to be saving. Okay, so as soon as we got some oil cooked off of this, we're going to take it off the fire and pour it in a little tin and let it cool down. So there it is, after it's hardened up. We can take that and use it on our knife blades, gun barrels, hatchets, as a rust preventative. So another part of the deer that's pretty useful is an antler. You know, if you shoot a smaller buck or whatever, something you don't want on the wall and you don't mind cutting it up and using it, you know, you can take two sides of the deer and use it as rattling antlers, you know, while you're hunting. And then also you can make, I like to make powder measures. You can simply cut off a tine and then you can drill a hole in the end of it to whatever depth, you know, whatever your powder charge is. They make neat little powder measures. Also, you can cut off different parts of the antler and use them for handles on knives or awls. You can also take a tine and sharpen it down and use it as an actual awl. And I believe you can also use like the leg bones and stuff for that. Another thing you can do is just cut a tine off, and using the end makes a great napping tool if you want to use it to nap your flint on your flintlock. You can also take the antler, you know, whatever size you want, and cut it, you know, cut off parts for making buttons, such as I have here, and then just simply drill your holes through it and you got a button. Anyway guys, there's lots of different parts from a deer that you can use for your 18th century hobby. It's just a matter of taking the time and doing it, but it's pretty rewarding to use a lot of different parts of the deer. So anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this short video, and we'll see you all in the next one.